Hello, hello. Hi, welcome to Holy Saturday. Holy Saturday already. My goodness. I don't know about you, that went quick for me. I really hope you had a really good time sitting with Jesus yesterday, sitting with the cross and the deep love of God. So today we are looking at Holy Saturday. Before we do that, allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Davina, a certified Christian coach and spiritual director, and I help Christian women heal from their brokenness, their heartbreaks, their deep emotional pain, so that they can walk in their true God-given identity and be healed so that they can be everything that God created them to be. So it is Holy Saturday, and it's an interesting day. An interesting day, why? Because it's empty. The Bible doesn't say anything about Holy Saturday. There's not a scripture. There's nothing. The one that I got was, it just said, and they rested on the Sabbath day. And that was it. And the next day it's like Resurrection Sunday. We went from this whole big Good Friday moment of everything happening since really early in the morning, the trial, Jesus going back and forth, the whole way of Calvary, way of the cross, Jesus being crucified, his death, him being buried, all of these big events and big things happening to Holy Saturday, where there's nothing going on, crickets. We can't see anything, there's not one scripture, nothing. Holy Saturday is literally that in-between space, like in between Good Friday of everything, the big events, and another big event that's going to happen the next day on Easter morning. So Holy Saturday sits in between what's going on. We're a bit lost. We're sitting with our grief. Jesus is dead. He is not here anymore. There's no court procedure, there's no noise, there's no the noise of everything that was going on, things happening. Now it's like went completely dead silent. It's that space of feeling helpless, that grief, that pain, that moment of waiting and grief. It's sort of like it's meaningless. Holy Saturday is like, what's happening? There's no meaning to it. What do we do with that? And this is exactly the space, the moment, and the day that we celebrate today. That emptiness, that silence. And it's very hard to stay in the silence. For many people, for me, I love it. It was not like this every time. I had to learn how to stay in the silence and how to love the silence, right? Now I love it. I love silence. But it's very difficult for people to stay in silence, not saying anything, not having the TV on, not doing anything. Like they feel that it's meaningless, their life is meaningless. And today, Holy Saturday is all about that silence. It's all about that space where nothing is really happening. And if you look at the disciples, and even if there's nothing in the scriptures to tell us what was happening, but they were there, right? They went back home. And they were grieved, they were sad, they were lonely, they were lost, because even if Jesus kept saying it, they did not expect it to end that way, right? They still have hope for something to happen, I guess. But they're like, what do we do with our lives now? Jesus is gone. Our best friend is dead. He didn't die just like a normal death. He was crucified. We saw all this happening in front of our eyes. And imagine Peter, like he's the one who denied, and he's there sitting. Now what do I do with my life? What do I do? How do I process? And they're there in that silence. I guess when I'm thinking about it, they're together, scared as, because they're thinking that the Jews and the Romans will come for them now, because now that Jesus is dead. Okay, let's go for the sheep because the shepherd is dead. So they're in the upper room and like, I'm sure not talking to each other, because everyone is in silence and dealing with their own thoughts and their own hearts. And it's the same for us today. What's happening in your heart on this Holy Saturday? Of everything that has been said and done and lived and discovered during the whole Holy Week, now there's this emptiness, this silence. Jesus is dead. And there's nothing else. What do you do? What do I do with that? So the invitation today is to remain in that silence, is to remain. Jesus said in John, remain in me, abide in me. He said this several times in that scripture. Today is the day to really stay with Jesus. Like really stay. He's not here anymore, but like staying in your heart. What's happening in the tomb? What's going on there? And what's happening in my heart? What's going on in my heart? So I invite you today to really, as much as possible, to stay in the silence. Cut out all the noise. TV, YouTube, phones. Try to limit it to the bare minimum. Stay in the silence in your heart and around you, inside and out. Stay in the silence, because it is in the silence that God comes to us. So stay in the silence and be attentive to what's going on. The temptation here is, because there's nothing happening, and one, we're not comfortable with silence, and two, we don't like waiting. The temptation is to jump straight away into Easter. And this is what many people do. Good Friday and then Holy Saturday, because it's awkward, we don't know what to do really, we just jump into Easter already. Oh, we're starting to celebrate, we're cleaning our houses, we're going shopping, we're already in the mood of Easter, we're there. No, please don't do that. Be patient. Wait with Jesus, because Jesus is in that tomb somewhere, waiting for his moment to be glorified, for him to be resurrected. Like he's waiting to. So wait with him. Remember, we're being with, we're staying with, we're watching with, and we're praying with. So be with him right now, like how he's waiting in his sleep. Wait. Do not move to Easter straight away, because if you do this, you will miss out on what God has to tell you today. You will miss out on what Holy Saturday has to offer. So make sure that you don't just jump to Easter straight away. Just stay there. Stay in the silence. Stay in the nothingness. Stay in the bold moment. Just stay there with Jesus in silence. Just be still and know that he is God. Today, the person to stay with, if there's a person that can help you today to be still and to wait and to stay in that silence, in that awkwardness, is Mary. Yes, Mary, the mother of Jesus. She's the only one. The only one. All the disciples were scared and desperate, sad, lonely, heartbroken, everything. Mary was heartbroken, of course. She saw her one and only child being crucified. I can't even imagine the pain in her heart, how broken her heart was. I think as much as God the Father. But she was the only person, I think, on planet Earth at that specific time that had hope in her heart. Mary was waiting with anticipation. She was waiting with hope, a little glimpse of hope in her heart, knowing that God hasn't said his last word yet. Because Mary, one, she carried Jesus, so she's the mom, and she knows. There's something. All of the things that happened since the birth, even before the birth of Jesus, since the angel Gabriel appeared to her and said, like, you will conceive a son. She kept all these things in her heart, remember? So this keeping all the things in her heart, and even now, she was still keeping this. Jesus said that he will be resurrected on the third day. What if? I know something's going to happen. The heart of the mother, my heart as a mother, knows that something can happen. God has that said his last word. He did not send an angel, gave me that son for nothing. For that, couldn't be. She was the only one who had hope in her heart. So the invitation today on this Holy Saturday is to wait in silence with Mary. Sit with Mary and wait with her. Look at her. What's happening in her heart? What is she thinking? How is she waiting in hope? Let Mary show you what it's like to wait in hope, because in our everyday life, we always have to wait. There's always something that we're waiting on, we're waiting for, always. Sometimes it can be big things, sometimes it can be small things, but we're all waiting. We all in our waiting season. So look at Mary. How is she waiting? How's that hope in her heart? What is she doing? What is waiting with hope looks like? What is waiting on God looks like? Because Mary was waiting on God. She knew that God hasn't said his last word yet. Something gonna happen. Even if she didn't have the whole story, the whole picture, she didn't know what gonna happen, how this gonna happen, but she knew the God that she served, the God that gave her a baby without her having any sexual intercourse with anybody, can be up to something and is up to something and will show up on the scene really soon. So stay with Mary today in the silence and see what's in her heart, and see what she can teach you about waiting on God, about how to wait, how to be still, how to be comfortable in the silence. So be expectant. Make sure that you do not go too quickly to Easter, because Holy Saturday is there for a reason. This waiting time, this quietness, this moment that feels that it doesn't have any meaning, it actually does have a lot of meaning. So for your hard work today, again, be in silence as much as you can, less talking, less distraction, and be sure to listen. Be sure to be in the wait, to be in expectation of something that's God gonna do, that's God's gonna say, because don't forget, we're going from the cross to the crown. So for your cross to be turned into a crown, this waiting season, this waiting moment, this silence is important. It has a purpose. So stay in there. Don't move too quickly or you'll miss out on it. You'll miss out on what God has for you during this Holy Saturday. So keep vigil. Keep watching, keep praying, keep staying with Jesus, and keep being vigilant, because God has not said his last word. I wish you a really beautiful Holy Saturday. May the Lord speak to your heart in the silence. I'll see you tomorrow for the last day of our retreat. Until then, bye-bye.